if you had to give this budget a letter grade, how would you grade it?
The grades are always a tough thing. I can say I'm really proud that we were able to force this government to expand dental care. That's going to save money for families. That's going to mean that they're going to be able to take care of their teeth. It's the biggest expansion of our healthcare system in a generation. It's truly going to be life-changing, and it's something that we're really proud of. That's going to really help Canadians in a real concrete way. And we're also proud that we forced this government to save people money, put more money back in their pockets with the GST rebate, which has been rebranded a grocery rebate. That's going to put money back in people's pockets. It's something that's going to make a difference in people's lives, and we're proud that we're able to do that. We're proud that we're, for the first time ever, able to connect government investments to good wages. That's never been there before, having those strings attached that we're going to give supports and incentives to tackle the climate crisis only if there's guarantees for good wages, good pay, and support for union jobs. Like, that's something that's never been done before, and we're proud of that. We're also, on a number of areas, not satisfied that this government hasn't responded to the urgency of the housing crisis, that they haven't put in place changes to EI, given that we're up against a recession. So there's things that we're not satisfied by, but we're very proud of the work that we've been able to do.
So are you going to be supporting this budget is the big question.
Yes, we'll be supporting the budget. We're going to be supporting the expansion of dental care. We're going to be supporting giving people some money back in their pockets, helping them save money. We're going to be supporting the good wages tied to investments. We're going to be supporting the relief that Canadians deserve and that we force this government to deliver.
Most of the initiatives under the...
Oui, on va appuyer ce budget parce qu'on a élargir les soins dentaires pour inclure nos aînés et les enfants de moins de 18 ans et les gens qui vivent avec un handicap. On a maintenant on a forcé le gouvernement de continuer de doubler le crédit de la TPS. Ça va mettre plus d'argent dans les poches des gens. Et on a pour la première fois lié les investissements dans les entreprises qui font face à la crise climatique avec des bons salaires. Donc c'est la première fois qu'on a eu cette garantie que les investissements doivent être liés avec les bons salaires. Donc on est fiers de ça, on va appuyer le budget.
C'est un bon budget.
Donc on félicite, on est fiers des victoires qu'on a obtenues. Donc on est fiers du fait que les soins dentaires sont là. On est fiers du fait qu'on a forcé ce gouvernement de mettre le plus d'argent dans les poches des gens. On est fiers de tout ça. Mais en même temps, on n'est pas satisfait avec les manques des actions pour la crise du logement, les manques des actions pour améliorer l'assurance emploi. Donc il y a des éléments où on n'est pas satisfait, mais on est fiers de ce qu'on a obtenu pour les gens.
Most of the initiatives that were in the agreement with the Liberals have been covered with the last two budgets. Where does this put you going forward in terms of leverage and supporting the Liberal government when most of the priorities have been introduced?
We're proud that we've been able to force this government to deliver things. And let me be very clear. There would not have been dental care in this budget but for New Democrats. There would not have been an expansion or a continuing of doubling the GST tax credit, which is the grocery rebate, but for the fact that we forced this government to deliver that. There wouldn't have been connections. There wouldn't have been clear ties between good jobs and investments in companies that are fighting the climate crisis, but for New Democrats. So we forced the government to do this. There's a number of things that are still need to be done by the end of this year. We still need to see anti-SCAP legislation. We still need to see pharmacare legislation, and we're going to make sure this government delivers those things as well by the end of the year.
What about the lack of a mention of pharmacare in this budget? That's a big ask for your party. I know they have until the end of the year to produce legislation according to your deal, but they didn't even mention it in the budget.
Well, they do have until the end of the year. I want to be very clear. We expect that legislation to be tabled by the end of this year and passed by the end of this year. That's according to our agreement, and we're going to force the government to do that. They have until the end of the year, and we're going to make sure they do that. It's very important to us, and we're going to continue to put pressure on the government to deliver on that very fundamental commitment that we forced them to make in our agreement. But it's a fundamental commitment for Canadians who want to see pharmacare happen.
Can you renegotiate terms of the agreement with the Liberals since most of the stuff was completed? Can you, I guess moving forward, come up with new priorities to support them to 2025?
So we have a number of things that are still outstanding that have to be done by the end of this year. We're going to continue to put pressure on the government to deliver on those things, and those things remain to be seen. So we'll continue to fight hard to make sure those are delivered, like pharmacare, like the anti-SCAP legislation. And there's additional things that we fought for. One example of that is the GST rebate. That was not in the agreement. We pushed hard to have it delivered last year, and we pushed again to have it delivered again this year. So that's an example of something that we've been able to push for something, outside of the agreement.
Any
How
concerns
realistic is
about
that?
the deficit forecast in the budget?
We are concerned about making sure we spend in a prudent way. And there's certain things that we can afford to continue doing. We made it very clear we think it's irresponsible and something we can't continue to do to give billions of dollars to already profitable oil and gas companies. That's something we can't continue to do and we can't afford to do. We also can't continue to allow for tax loopholes that allow for billions of dollars of revenue to be lost so that we can't use that to invest properly in Canadians' programs that they need. So there's certain things that the government has to stop doing that are irresponsible and are wasteful. That we will continue to push for this government to stop doing.
Does the budget do enough to fight climate change?
I'd say sadly not enough, but the steps that are in the budget now are things that we force this government to do. So the fact that for the first time we've made this strong connection that if we want to fight the climate crisis, we have to do that by creating good jobs and making sure people get good wages. We've done that in this budget. We forced this government to deliver on making sure there's strings attached. And I've been saying that for a while. We can't just give money away to incentivize the right decisions. We have to make sure that money is tied to guarantees for good wages and good jobs. And we've done that. So that's a positive step. There's still a lot more that needs to be done. This government's failed to meet any of their targets. They've got to take their targets seriously. We need to see real action to reduce emissions, and we'll continue to fight for that.
Will you trigger an election if the Liberals don't meet the pharmacare plan by the end of the year?
That's not a decision we're making today, but we want to make it very clear that there are certain things that the government has to deliver by the end of this year. And the pharmacare is one of those. We want to make sure that's absolutely delivered by the end of this year. In this budget, we have forced the government to deliver meaningful things that are going to make people's lives better, save people money, and help them with their healthcare needs, like their dental care needs. That's something that we're proud of, and we force the government to do that. There's more things that we're going to continue to force this government to do by the end of this year.
Is this the last Liberal budget you'll support?
That is not, again, the decision we're making today. We're going to continue to fight for people. And our goal, like I've said always, is to force this government to work for people. People sent us here in a minority government. We respect that. We've been using our power to deliver for people, to save people money, to give people a break. Unlike the other opposition leaders and other opposition parties that have done nothing concretely to help people in this unprecedented, challenging time, we have used our power as the fourth party to meaningfully make a difference in people's lives. We campaigned on dental care, we delivered. We campaigned on making sure people got respect, we delivered. We're going to continue to do that.
One issue you were pushing for was a national school lunch program to try and help with families struggling right now. It's not in the budget. I know provinces like BC are looking at a similar program, but what's your reaction to that, A? And then B, how realistic is that when education is a provincial priority?
I think it's a missed opportunity that the federal Liberal government did not move forward with the school lunch program. It's something that we can do. We can partner with provinces, have the funding to make a commitment to work with provinces to deliver this. And again, while certain areas are clearly provincial jurisdiction, that doesn't preclude the federal government from working together with provinces to deliver on things like childcare. That's something that is not necessarily a federal competence, but we actually used our power to force legislation to make that child care agreement that the federal government was able to do permanent. We believe that's something that the federal government can do. We can work with provinces to deliver meaningful help to people, and that just because something is strictly a jurisdiction of the province doesn't mean we can't find a way to work with provinces to deliver that. And the school lunch program is an example of something that we can do if we work with the federal, with the provincial party, provincial sections to work to make sure that's delivered. It can be done, it should be done, and we continue to believe that that's something that the government should have done in this budget, but it didn't.
A huge chunk of the new spending is for, obviously, dental care. Are you concerned at all that Canadians are going to be upset with the NDP over, this major spending that you did kind of hold over the Liberals to push through?
I think Canadians are going to see a savings that they're going to realize. I think they're going to be happy to see that on average families are going to save at least $1,200 per year. That's meaningful. We're going to save families another $500 up to $500 by putting more money back in their pockets with the GST doubling of the rebate. So these are concrete measures to save money for people. I think Canadians are going to be happy with that, and they're going to be happy knowing that they're going to be able to get their teeth fixed. That's something that Canadians are going to be happy with.
Last question.
Do you think that we'll ever see an excess profit tax under this government?
I'm concerned that so far the government has not really signaled an openness to doing that. And it's concerning because other countries around the world have acknowledged that that is a concrete way to tackle the greedy CEOs that are using inflation as cover to increase their profits. Other countries in Europe have put in place excess profit tax. We think that should happen here in Canada as well. It could happen with grocery store, massive corporate chains that are making record profits while charging record prices for Canadians. And so we still believe that that is the right thing to do. Excess profit tax can be put in place, and we'll continue to fight for that.
Can I just ask you on affordable housing, what would you like to see on affordable housing?
Thank you.
Okay.